Hey, this is Tom from MVP Chess. Welcome back to my series on Bobby Fischer's seminal work, My 60 Memorable Games. In this video, we'll be analyzing game number 55 that Fischer played versus Jacek Bednarski in the 1966 Chess Olympiad. Before we jump in, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and join Team MVP. Thank you so much for your support. So, who was Jacek Bednarski? Well, he was a chess player from Poland who won the Polish Chess Championship in 1963. He became an international master in 1964. As one of the best players in Poland, he represented his country in several chess Olympiads, including 1966 on board one, where he had to face none other than the GOAT, Bobby Fischer. So Fischer with the white pieces, Bobby plays e4 best by test, of course. And Bednarski makes a very bold move by playing the Najdorf against the world's leading expert of the Najdorf. Wouldn't be my first choice, but to each their own. So Fischer plays bishop c4, his tried and true move against the Najdorf, and in many other variations of the Sicilian for that matter. So Bednarski plays e6, blunting this bishop. Now it's, as Nimzovich said, biting on granite. Fischer secures the bishop, gets it off the c-file, where it could be vulnerable to a future queen c7 or rook c8. And we have knight bd7 from Bednarski. This is actually a really good line against the Fischer-Sozin attack. I'll just call it the Fischer attack, no offense to Sozin. But it's a nice line where the knight comes out to c5 quickly, provides some extra defense of the e6 square. This is a really critical point in this line. And also keeps this light squared bishop in its sights, where it can exchange it off at a moment's notice. Now, Fischer, board one against a weaker player in the Olympiad. Of course, he's going for the dub, and he plays pawn to f4, the most aggressive move in this position. Now, his idea is to play, after knight c5, pawn to f5. And you can see Fischer's strategy. He's put a maximum pressure on this e6 pawn. If it comes forward, it will weaken the d5 square, and Fischer will try to play more positionally, gaining control over the d5 square. Fischer won many great games in those lines. If Black doesn't push forward, this can lead to a real tactical melee, as we'll see in this game. So Bednarski goes pawn grabbing, very dangerous to do against Fischer in this line. Okay, and he grabs on e4. Fischer captures on e6, and then Bednarski gives a very tempting check, but this is basically a suicidal move. Queen h4 check. Okay, so the advance of the f-pawn was a very aggressive move by Fischer, but of course it's double-edged. It does weaken the king's position. In a castled position on the king side on this diagonal, and as we see here on this diagonal as well. But Fischer had this all worked out, of course. I mean, not only was he the world's leading expert in the bishop c4 line, he was also the world's leading expert on the Najdorf. So no doubt he had this position all worked out. And he knew that after queen h4, he could simply play g3, allow the knight to take on g3, okay, exploiting this pin on the h-pawn, and then had a really nice follow-up in mind in this position. So I'll turn it over to you and give you a hint. This is not some crazy move to win a piece or to checkmate the black king. It's a defensive tactic. Okay, but one that completely refutes Black's play and allows Fischer to take over the initiative. Okay, these type of tactics are really important to study and to try to find in your own games as well. So, what did Fischer play here? Have a think. So, congratulations if you found this nice knight retreat, knight to f3. Great move. Okay, a nice defensive move by Fischer, kicking this queen away from this dangerous diagonal. Okay, and after the queen ducks back, Fischer's then able to grab on f7 with check, and he has grabbed the initiative. King d8 Bednarski's king has now lost the right to castle and is going to be floundering around in the middle of the board for the rest of the game. Again, I say this all the time. Controlling the center, develop your pieces and castle your king. It's amazing how many players, even international masters, fail to do this and pay the ultimate price. So Fischer in this position plays rook g1, really nice move. Now he is threatening to take this knight, now that the h-pawn is no longer pinned, so Bednarski has to retreat the knight. Fischer keeps pushing him back. Knight d5, great move by Fischer, planting a knight on the strategically important d5 square in the Najdorf. So his pawn move, f4, f5, weakened this whole complex, and now his pieces have excellent squares. Queen takes f7, a dangerous move by Bednarski, of course stepping into a potential discovery, but this pawn was really, really dangerous and needed to be taken off the board. But this just allows Fischer to complete his development with some gains of tempo. So first, bishop g5 check. In the style of Morphy, okay? It would be very tempting for a lot of players to go for some sort of knockout here, you know, some discovery against the queen, but Fischer is not in a rush. This king cannot castle. Black's position is a dumpster fire. Fischer is just going to complete his development and castle his king and then tear Black's head off. So we have in this position king e8 in the game. Bednarski would like to ideally block this check and develop a piece at the same time, but this just fails tactically. Knight takes e7, boom. Now we see this bishop come into the game with decisive effect. So that's why the king has to take another walk, king e8. Fischer gets his queen off the back rank with tempo, queen e2. Bednarski blocks, and Fischer plays knight f4, putting more pressure on this bishop on e6. So Bednarski gets off the dangerous e-file, trying to secure his king on d7. And all Fischer does, just like Morphy in this position, is castle to the queen side. Look at the relative safety of the kings. Fischer's king is safe as houses. Bednarski's king is stuck in the center of the board. So with Fischer's last move, castle's queenside, not only did he secure his king, not only did he bring his rook into the game on the very active d-file, he's now also threatening knight e5 check, which will just be the end of the world. It would win the queen because the d-pawn would be pinned. So that's why the queen stepped off of this dangerous square and came to the e8 square. Fischer grabbed. We have knight takes e6, and then queen e4. Wow. A great centralizing queen move by Fischer. These moves tend to be so powerful. The queen is just such a powerful piece in the center of the board like this. Notice she's not only attacking this loose knight on f5, she's also hitting this pawn on b7. And after g6, knight takes e6, Bednarski had enough and threw in the towel and resigned. So let's just play out a couple more moves. If queen takes e6, Fischer would have a very simple continuation here. Queen takes b7 check. The king would be forced back, and after rook ge1, Black is just basically losing everything in this position. So totally understandable why Bednarski decided to resign after knight takes e6. I'll say it again. Control the center. Develop your pieces rapidly and castle your king. If you do not, against a strong player, okay, or even a player that studied the games of Fischer and Morphy, you are going to get crushed, just like my man Bednarski did. Well, hope you enjoyed this video and the analysis of game number 55. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and join Team MVP. You're not going to want to miss my next installment, which will be game number 56. We're getting so close to the end. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you soon. Bye.